Welcome to CivilNet. My guest today is Aris Nalci. He's the news director of İmece TV in Istanbul. Aris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you too.
We've asked you to join us today to talk about what most of us have been talking about in Armenia and in the Armenian world is the movie The Cut by Turkish director, filmmaker Fatih Akin. While most people have seen this as a very positive thing that a Turkish filmmaker has made a film about the Armenian Genocide, there has been some criticism. And I want to talk to you in particular about two articles that appeared, one in the Hurriyet and one in the Star, criticizing the film not for its artistic attributes, but for the content. Alis Tashjan, who's a well-known film critic, said that basically what Akin had done was to contribute to Turkey's policy of denial. How would you see that? Is that how you see this film as well?
Actually, Maria, I watched the film as an Armenian, not as a journalist. I wrote my article starting with the sentence like this because I think as an Armenian, it's not possible to watch this kind of films in an objective way. So Alin Tashjian is also one of the members of the jury in Venice, and she's also the head of Fripesky Institute. And also she's also a very well-known film critics in Turkey. That I think she watched the film with the eye of a film critic, but I didn't actually see that the movie was also continuing and supporting the denial of Turkey, because the movie maker in the press conference, Fatih Akin, was telling that this is a genocide and he wants to give more visibility to Armenian genocide. Also, in his interviews, he is using these words. And
but Aris, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second, if I may. Alis, in her article, says that he portrays the deportations as deportations and not as a systematic policy of extermination of the Armenians. And the fact that, she argues, the fact that Akin is a Turk, so that informed a lot of what he was trying to show as well, directly or indirectly.
It's possible maybe to watch the film from different angles. The thing is, what I see in the movie, that there is a deportation, but the deportation starts with the scan, scan which gives you that the Ottoman police and gendarme comes to pick the Armenians, and they don't accept anything. Every Armenian they're picking up. So this opening scan is giving you giving you the feeling that this is a systematic massacre and systematic genocide. And the scans, come on, we're seeing tens of people cut by Turkish military, and we see also, for example, I was wondering. When I watched Ararat, it's not a comparison between the movies, but when I watched Ararat, okay, there were flags openly saying that it's a Turkish flag. But in this film, I was wondering, okay, Fatih Akin, how he's going to use the flag in where? And on the trains and during the borders, we saw the Ottoman flag and the Turkish arm some places. So I don't think that he was frightened to doing something, but I also can comment something about that. He, for many of critics, I think something like that. Turkey Armenians are not going to be satisfied from this movie, but I'm pretty sure diasporan Armenians and also maybe Armenia is going to like the movie, because we have to see we have to see that there is a Turkish director with some Turkish and Armenian players, actors and actresses, shooting a movie which is not really denying what Turkey is saying. But also, we have to see if how Fatih Akin's father and some nationalist Turkish friends were commenting after the film to him, saying that this is not the proof for us that Turks made genocide. Because you can still continue denying. You know, this is just a film. We can't just put all the everything.
But Aris, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second again. You know, you mentioned something earlier that I think is very important, that we make this distinction: Armenians living in Turkey, Armenians in the diaspora, and Armenians in the Republic of Armenia proper. We all have our own distinctive baggage, historical, personal memories that dictate what we want to see. And any film, I think, on the genocide, excuse me, is going to come up for some kind of criticism. Somebody's not going to like it. And I agree that it's a Turkish filmmaker. It was quite courageous for him, taking into consideration who his father was, who his circle is, who he is, to make a film on the Armenian genocide. I just want to return to one of these articles that was written by Ahmed Hakan for the Hurriyet. He also had the same perception that Ali Tashjan had, that did not demonize the Turk necessarily. I haven't seen the film. I've only seen trailers. It hasn't been released in Armenia yet, so I obviously haven't seen the film, and I'm sort of talking blindly. I have to depend on what I read. And that the massacres were not systemic, and doesn't really say that the Ottoman Empire at the time, the Ottoman leadership, had this policy of exterminating the Armenians. So from within Turkey, Armenians and Turks are criticizing Akin's film for not really talking to the real heart of the matter. It's interesting for us sitting here.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's not talking about really the matter. Ahmet Hakan and Ali Tashjan, and I agree. I can agree in one point. This film is not demonizing Turk, maybe as much as they wanted, as much as nationalist Armenians maybe will want it. Okay, this film gives the crime to Turkish government and Jön Turks, and we see it demonizing Turks in the film. In many places, we see really Turkish gendarme or Turkish militaries which are demonizing. But also, I think the filmmaker wanted to put all the stories that he heard, that he read from everywhere. And also we have to contribute that the screenplayer is also scriptwriter. Sorry, is also an Armenian co-scriptwriter, Martin Mardik, and he was also saying after the press conference during a little chit chat that we can't put everything in there, and the aim is to show that what happened. For example, in the film, you can also see not as much as demonized by Turks, but you will also see Kurds and Arabs who used Armenian women, who kidnapped them, who raped them. So this blame can be on Turks who started, but also we are talking in our articles in history books that the blame is not just on Jön Turks. If they do the massacre, the genocide is on the Ottoman government, Turkish government, but we also have to know that the Middle Eastern countries are not really white and really clean in this, and also the Kurdish people. For example, in the film, you're seeing that a Kurdish guy, even if you're not living in Turkey, you will not understand that is a Kurdish guy. A military guy comes to help, but the guy speaks in the Kurdish dialect. So I understand that guy who was helping to the Armenian was Kurd. But also, one of the interesting points that the person who was trying to kill Nazaret Manukyan, the leading role, is also trying to save it. So I think there is some ironic ways to show the relations between Turks and Armenians. But I still believe that this is if Armenians were going to make a propaganda film for Armenian genocide, this is the film because there is no better one. Sorry, I didn't see any Armenian directors who are shooting a film which is this much big networked and worked on this.
And so a huge budget for this film, and something that's tackling a historical moment that's very important to us.
For example, some Armenians who watched the film, after the film, they told me, it's so interesting. It was Italian and French filmmakers. They told me that they wish that they had an Armenian name next to Fatih Akin's as a director. Come on, it was not going to change anything for me. It's just an Armenian name to, if it's an Armenian name to put on a film, the scriptwriter is a co-scriptwriter is Armenian.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of talk of whether this film will actually be shown in Turkey. Akin, in several interviews, said he is very hopeful that it will be shown and it's important. Just as a final question, Aris, is this going to be part of that process of enlightenment in Turkey, or is this going to create more divisions?
I don't think that this film is going to create more divisions, because it's not that much hardly pushing. Yeah, for me it was a challenge to watch the film, because I see all the stories that I read, all the stories that my parents were pressing through to me. But the main idea, what Fatih Akin is saying, he said he also wants this film to shown in US, in Europe, in so many countries. But the most important, he wants Turkish people to watch this. So he was telling me that every time that he's writing a sentence, he was thinking what the Turkish people are going to think. If Turkish people are going to go after the film, are going to go to the net and check what is Armenian genocide, if he's going to be able to push a bit minds to give visibility for Armenian genocide, to talk about it. So I think if nationalist Armenians, even his father, director's father, watched the film and commented about it, I'm pretty hopeful that it's going to push something like Erdogan's 23rd April letter to Armenians, because yeah, it wasn't sorry, or it was the continuation of the denial, but after that letter, that letter went into every house in Turkey, and now people are thinking, what was this about? Why he said this? And after this film, maybe people are going to think, even if they go to Wikipedia, even if they go to the closest Armenian that they know and ask to him, because we have to know, yes, 72 million people lives in Turkey, but I don't think even 10% knows about Armenian genocide. So if this film rises that 10% to 20 or even 15%, I think it's a success to make visibility.
Right. Well, I think that on that note, we can say we can be cautiously optimistic that every effort, every film, every book, every documentary contributes to that process of people living in Turkey coming to grips with their history, for there to be some kind of recognition, reconciliation, reparation. We'll be having this discussion, Aris, as I've said before, you know, we're leading up to the 100th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, so this is a very important time in our collective history. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you too.
I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest was Aris Nalci. He is the news director of Imece TV in Istanbul, Turkey. Stay with CivilNet.